All right, I have another quick review for you. This book, Children of Time, I'll just mention that starts amazing and ends even better. I know it's kind of cliche to say that, but it is worth it for the last 50 pages. Now, that won't be the only thing you enjoy about it, I think, but man, does it have a strong epilogue that really left me wowed. I really loved it. Really loved it. It is the start of a trilogy. This book by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Children of Time's the first one. Children of Ruin, which I haven't gotten to, and then Children of Memory will be coming out, I believe, in November. Now, the first one probably could have been a standalone, and really, if you read it, you could read it as a standalone because there is finality to it, but it does kind of leave it open for other things to happen. But you could totally read it as a standalone if you don't want to get drawn along on a series, which often I don't really want to either. Really great. Now, the premise of this is what would happen if humanity had to leave Earth and to colonize other planets and survive elsewhere. I mean, we've seen that in science fiction. Half of these books on this side have that premise in one way or another. But it is interesting in another little way. It opens up with what's her name? Dr. Avrana Kern or CERN. Not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. I just would say it's CERN in my own head. But she's on her way to another planet. She's a scientist, and she doesn't have a big crew with her. And she is 20 light years away at this other planet, and they are on this mission, that she's the head of this mission, where they are going to kind of artificially Planet of the Apes this planet that they are revolving around. This planet is beautifully terraformed. It's this really bright emerald green. There's the planet there. And when it's time, they'll send down their precious cargo to seed this planet. Now, in the cargo are a whole bunch of monkeys, and they have been infected or will be infected with a nanovirus that'll make it so that they can really advance quickly, kind of generation by generation. And within 30 or 40 generations, they will be able to speak and have sentience and have lots of the same kind of stuff that humans would have. Really, another take on Planet of the Apes. That's kind of the premise at the start. Now, not everyone is really into this plan that she has. Certainly, there are fundamentalist groups that are really against the idea of not only kind of artificially enhancing these monkeys, but any AI or cybernetic implants in humans, they would be really against. As I suppose there would be that as well today. Now, that's kind of where it starts, where she goes to this planet and she's going to drop this cargo to seed the planet. And then the plan would be that they could go off and terraform other planets, but someone would stay behind and kind of revolve around the planet in cryosleep, meaning they would be not conscious. They would be safely sleeping for generations. And they would do that, sending down a signal to the planet that eventually one day, could be centuries in the future or thousands of years, one day these monkeys would have developed enough where they could decode the message and reply to it. And in that moment, the cryosleep would be ended, and this person could become the Jane Goodall of this new planet of monkeys, teaching them all sorts of things, maybe even getting some stuff from them. But this would be kind of the future of expanding humanity now that Earth is kind of screwed. And that's how it starts. And as I mentioned, there are these fundamentalist groups all introduced in the first chapter, so I'm not spoiling anything there. And they will try to be throwing a wrench in things. And there's this kerfuffle on the ship in the first chapter, and then it ends. And we wonder, did it work? We don't know. You have to keep reading. Now, there are 2 other chapters in part 1 that I'm going to leave out because it does, I think it was only 2 chapters, because it does kind of mention the fate of what happened. But I will mention that, I mean, it is a success in one regard, but in another, a success not in the way that was planned. Now, the rest of the book has another perspective with it, another human perspective of people that are on this ship way in the future. And they are kind of in a bit of a dark age themselves where they don't really know much about the age that this doctor had been coming out of because, you know, Earth was going to heck and it really did kind of enter a bit of a dark age. So they are up in this ship, though, and they hear the call, the beacon from this satellite that's shooting down this message down to the planet. And they go investigate what's going on. And I kind of want to leave it there because what happens when they get there and when these 2 worlds kind of collide is interesting. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I knew basically what they were going to see when they got there, but not how it was going to play out. Now, if you don't want to know any more than that, that's great. And I think you should go read it. And I think you will enjoy it. But I will be giving a light synopsis of kind of what they're going to see when they get there, but not where it's going to go. I will say, though, before you click away, if you're interested in this and you don't want to see the rest, there is a little bit of a content warning. If profanity, if you're sensitive to that, there is definitely one individual in particular who she has quite a loose tongue, I guess you could say. And so there's that. But there's not a huge content warning for really much else in it. I will also say that even though I was really interested for the first 200 pages, the hooks started to dig in me around halfway through, and then the last 50 pages I really liked. I really, really liked. I thought it was fantastic. I don't know where it's going to go for the rest of the series. I'm hopeful and I'm interested. I don't know if it's going to be a rehash of what we've already seen, but I mean, sometimes we like that sort of thing. Now, this is the first sci-fi book that Adrian Tchaikovsky ever wrote. There are more that I'm excited to get to, but I believe he wrote about 10 fantasy novels before getting to this one. And I'm interested to see how his fantasy novels are. I think he's got good writing chops. A lot of it is very kind of explainy, but I still liked what I was being told. He conjures some visuals in our mind that is for the reader that the characters in the book wouldn't necessarily know what he was talking about. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It got the point across, and I don't mind that. But he does do that in his book. Now, if you want a very light idea of what this book is going to be about, because I think for a lot of people, they will have to know that before they decide to dig into it, I'll give you this. When they get there, in a way, it is Planet of the Apes. This, I used that as a verb. They Planet of the Apes this planet, but it didn't quite work out the way they thought. It wasn't with apes, but with spiders. The spiders and other creepy crawlies have been the ones that have been infected with this nanovirus that is enhancing them. And so one of the perspectives will be these spiders and this growth of this society that will grow, that will build on the base rock of how spiders already are, already kind of spider instinct. You can tell that Adrian Tchaikovsky put some research on spiders. I'm not an expert in it, so I don't know how well he got it. But you can tell that he put a lot of thought in establishing the foundation of this spider society and then trying to kind of really think through how this would have maybe developed with increased cognition and problem solving and things like that. Because of their language barriers, which would be different than ours, and their overall just structural society and their instincts, they would grow in different ways and have different value systems, and religion would develop in different ways. But it's interesting. I thought it was very, very well thought out. And I really love the last 50 pages. What a strong ending. I loved it. And I will give it 2 thumbs up. So I hope that you pick up that book if it sounds interesting to you. I think it could appeal to a lot of people. And a lot of people have been blown away by this book, just by judging some of the other reactions that I've seen. The next review I will be doing will be Moby Dick, another book that I love. And I hope that you will give that a chance if you normally are a fantasy or a sci-fi nerd. Everyone knows Moby Dick, but I am going to try to give a case why even now people should read it, if you haven't. Anyway, I will see you on the next one.